China has leveled a blistering accusation at the United States, calling the seizure of foreign ships a serious violation of international law.
His arbitrary detention of other countries' vessels seriously violates international law. China consistently opposes illegal unilateral sanctions that lack a basis in international law and are not authorized by the UN Security Council. It opposes any actions that violate the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, infringe upon the sovereignty and security of other nations, and all unilateral bullying acts. Venezuela has the right to independent development and mutually beneficial cooperation with other countries. We believe the international community understands and supports Venezuela's position in safeguarding its legitimate rights and interests.
According to Beijing, Washington's interception of a China-bound oil tanker near Venezuela is not just a military move, it's a breach of global norms, a rejection of the UN Charter, and a dangerous assertion of unilateral power. The vessel, carrying nearly 2 million barrels of Venezuelan crude oil, was intercepted by the U.S. Coast Guard in international waters under a White House blockade of sanctioned tankers. China's foreign ministry blasted the action as illegal, unlawful, and a blatant infringement on sovereignty. Beijing insists nations have the right to form their own partnerships, trade, and navigate the global market free from coercion. Venezuela has also joined the outrage, condemning the interception as piracy and vowing to take the issue to the United Nations.
Venezuela is raging after U.S. forces hijacked a second oil tanker near its territory. Caracas says this is no coincidence, but Trump's strategy aimed squarely at Venezuelan oil. This after U.S. personnel stormed the oil tanker and captured it without consent. The Venezuelan government issued a hard-hitting response, describing the U.S. military move as a serious act of international piracy. Caracas rejected the U.S. claim that the vessel was transporting oil. It termed the U.S. military operation theft, hijacking, and a serious act of international piracy. Venezuela also labeled some serious charges on Washington. It claimed that the crew of the private vessel had been forcefully disappeared. Venezuela also added that the seizure of the oil tanker is part of the U.S.'s broader campaign to overthrow the Nicolas Maduro government in Caracas and seize the country's vast energy resources. Amid rage, now comes the warning. Venezuela threatens to take the matter to the United Nations Security Council and other multilateral organizations and governments. But will Washington back down? Despite criticism, even at home, the U.S. is intensifying military pressure on Venezuela. Donald Trump continues to ramp up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Earlier this month, the tanker's skipper was seized after Trump announced a sweeping blockade on oil vessels traveling to or from Venezuela. However, it is unclear if the second seized oil tanker was U.S. sanctioned. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirmed that U.S. forces in a pre-dawn strike seized the tanker, an action she openly framed as enforcement against Venezuelan oil. The move comes days after President Donald Trump ordered what he described as a total and complete blockade of sanctioned tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. Earlier this week, Maduro accused Washington of seeking to install a puppet government that would surrender Venezuela's constitution, sovereignty, and resources. He describes the blockade and vessel seizures as corsair tactics and part of a diplomacy of barbarism.
Look, our goal is regional stability and security in the national interest of the United States. The national interest of the United States, specifically when it comes to Venezuela, is as follows. We have a regime that's illegitimate, that cooperates with Iran, that cooperates with Hezbollah, that cooperates with narco-trafficking and narco-terrorist organizations, inclusive not just protecting their shipments and allowing them to operate with impunity, but also allows some of them to control territory, the ELN and the FARC-D. Okay? The ELN and the FARC dissidents operate openly. They have like open camps that they control territory inside of Venezuela. That is our national interest, and that is what this is focused on. And that's what the president's been focused on.
El 16 de diciembre de este año, el